Welcome to the Trying to Be Better podcast with Joel and Steve.
He says, I suppose.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Trying to Be Better podcast with Joel and Steve. My name is Joel.
And I'm Steve. I am not a professional.
Peter Piper, the pickled pepper picker, picked a peck of pickled peppers.
Amazing.
I'm gonna eat a biscuit.
You're gonna eat a biscuit. Well, do it on that new mic because it sounds great. Oh, it's not picking it up. Everybody, you're really missing out. Is that one of them Belvitas?
No. Today's podcast is brought to you by Nature Valley Biscuits. Peanut butter, cinnamon almond butter, delicious biscuits on the go. 14 grams of whole grain, only 190 calories. Biscuit sandwiches, because you have to work so much you can't make breakfast.
Do they have any protein in them? Are they fortified with protein?
Let me see. I don't know. Let's see.
I've been really leaning towards the things that have, protein in them.
Protein and dietary fiber.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's 4 grams of protein.
Well, not a lot.
Not a lot.
No,
these are just little snackies.
Little snackies.
Yeah, I need to go back to Costco and get some. I've been I tried them out. I got some like plant-based protein shakes to have at work.
Uh-huh.
And I need to get more of them. I like that as an integrated part of my overall daily intake.
Yeah, I'm still on the Huel train.
Yeah, how's that going?
I like it. I like the Huel stuff. It's a little pricey, but I think ultimately worth it.
Yeah, we do a meal cert. We do Clean Slate. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Clean Slate.
It's Clean Slate. They provide actual like food things.
Yeah, it's like little prepared meals that you can warm up or not. I mean, some of them are just salads or whatever, but they're individually prepared and they deliver them.
So
every
how
week.
does a mail order salad work? Or does it come fresh?
Yeah, it's pretty fresh. They actually they box them that morning and then they deliver them on Sunday in a insulated bag with ice, an ice thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it stays. I mean, yeah, if you wait the whole week to eat the salad, some of that might not be as desirable. But
so this
if you get to the salad
bag,
first,
is it like environmentally friendly or is it an environmental disaster?
no, you reuse them.
Oh, you reuse them.
Yeah, you set it out, and then when they come to drop it off, they take the old one.
Oh.
And all of their containers are compostable.
Well, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, Clean Slate.
Clean
and they
Slate.
have, I mean, one of the main reasons we got it was because we're busy people and buying lunch, but also I work in a smaller town than Lincoln,
Most
Nebraska.
people, yeah.
Yeah. So as a non-meat eater, there's not a lot of options if
There's
I want
the Impossible Whopper.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. Mm-mm. And also, like, that would just get, I mean,
Yeah.
So I have a
How
meal
many
plan.
Impossible Whoppers can you eat before
Yeah,
you seriously start questioning your will to live?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not there yet.
Okay.
I'm close, but I'm not there yet.
Hence, enter Clean Slate.
Clean slate. So
we'll stave off your desire to end your own life. Clean Slate.
Clean slate. And like you look through the ingredients of this shit, it's actually pretty decent. I mean, it's actual food,
Yeah,
and,
that's good.
Yeah, and I also have a meal plan at the cafeteria too to mix it up too. So
Sure. That's the thing about Huel is that none of it resembles actual food.
it's like space food, right?
It is.
It's good
basically
though.
Like,
right?
yeah. Like I really have gotten to their noodle cups to go. It's like noodles and freeze dried tofu, basically.
Yeah.
With a bunch of protein and it's like protein powder that tastes like Szechuan something.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And so you have to really accept the fact that it tastes like Szechuan something.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Dan Dan noodles or anything like that. It doesn't
No,
even pretend to be Dan Dan noodles.
no.
But
It's not homemade ramen in,
no,
you know.
no, it is a space food noodle cup. But
That's the one we got to write down.
space food noodle cup. Okay. But
We're trying to get, because after we have these long and winding roads, a conversation. And Steve and I think, what are we calling this? And we
I
forget
don't know.
everything we just said.
Well, it's occasionally my mom, hi mom, will ask me, well, what'd you guys talk about? And I'm like, I don't have any idea.
I don't know, man. We blocked out. Kirsten would say that, so we'll say that, ask that too. What'd you guys talk about?
Uh,
Well, we went from, the
point
the
A to
point Z12 to
yeah,
sandwich to
maybe
blue.
tied back around to point A at some point.
Yeah, tangentially.
Sure.
Tangentially. What's going on?
Well, I was a little like late getting the meeting to you because I forgot I was watching Formula One.
Oh,
And I got all caught up in that for a minute, and I was like, "Oh shit,
um,
it's time to go."
there was a Japanese Grand Prix, right?
Today, yeah, Suzuka.
That was actually aired last night, right?
It did, yeah. I'm watching the 30-minute race recap.
So I was happened to be up
No
after it
spoilers.
started. I don't know who won because I
Mhm.
passed the fuck out.
Good. Okay.
There's something delightfully, like, people like as a device to fall asleep, like count sheep.
Mhm.
I've always imagined open wheel racing, specifically IndyCar racing, but just because that was kind of part of my
Yeah.
childhood.
Same. Mhm.
But just like the hum of the engine and the tire, and
Mhm.
just like that, and just thinking about cars going around a circuit.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's the thing that I use to like fall asleep in a weird way.
Yeah.
And so when I was it was late. We were up. Colin, my brother and I watched the Final Four basketball games last night,
Oh
and
yeah.
then he
I
left.
heard. I heard Duke got knocked out in the last minute.
Dude, that was insane.
My
That
mom roots for Duke and is a big Duke fan. So sorry, mom.
They led the entire game until the last like
Yeah.
minute and
Because
a
I was kind
half.
of keeping one eyeball on that. I'd asked Siri what the score was.
Yeah,
I'm
it
like,
was.
oh, they're doing all right. And then this morning, no.
And I had Duke winning last night, and I had Auburn winning, and both of those teams lost yesterday. So
So your bracket hit the wall.
my bracket hit the wall. I was in first place in my pool. The money was going to go to the dog rescue of my choice.
Oh yeah.
They screwed it over for the dogs.
They screwed
Maybe
it
I could
over
still.
for the dogs.
I don't know what's going to happen if the person that's now tied with me or ahead of me, if their team actually doesn't win the national championship, then I think we're still tied. So we go to a tiebreaker. Anyway,
Hmm.
so I was up late after the basketballs. And then I was like, oh, Formula One's on. So I put
Mhm.
that on. I passed out so hardcore. Kirsten apparently tried to get me to come into the actual bed, and I refused. Like, I don't even remember that. I was just
Wow.
completely
Gone.
passed out. Yeah, I woke up. I was like, where the fuck am
Well, I
I?
I did the opposite because I actually went. There was a show choir thing yesterday, and so we did the dad crew thing, and this time we had to like move it was a whole thing, and I got home and I was tired, but kind of that adrenaline thing from having because I've been working for a couple hours.
Right.
So I'm just kind of staring at the what was I doing? Messaging a friend anyway, and then I went to bed about a half hour before the race started, so at like 11:30.
Yeah.
And then I
Right.
woke up at like 3:30, like ding, wide awake. Like, shit. I thought about watching the race then
Yeah.
but see, I would have actually been engaged in it. It wouldn't
Yeah.
have been as passive, so it's not like it's like the nothing much happens stories where there is
Right.
a story, but if
Yeah.
you fall asleep, it's fine.
Right.
Where this would be like everything's happening.
It's all happening,
It's
and I have
all
to pay
happening.
attention to
And yeah,
every
every little
detail.
yeah.
Yeah.
And So I opted to not turn the race on. And yeah.
It's probably better for your body and health,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because you would have watched, what is the race about, last about an hour and a half, 2 hours?
Yeah, ish, yeah, depending.
Then you would have been like, fuck.
Right now, I'm really screwed. Um, I just lost it. Anyway,
There it went
there it went, just like a car around the
around a
bend.
track.
Yeah, that's right.
It'll come back around.
My go-to for the last probably 5 years or so, I'm sort of obsessed with. I've always been obsessed with trains, so maybe I'm a little autistic. I don't know. Not to. It's just a thing. Like I really
Not that
enjoy.
there's anything wrong with that.
Exactly. Yes. I enjoy cab view train videos.
Yeah, dude.
Like 15. This is like 15 years ago. I somehow found before like YouTube. I somehow found a high resolution for the time, like HD cab ride, really excellent quality video of a train going through Switzerland from like a
Mm,
town up into the mountains, and it took like
yeah.
2.5 hours. And I would always have it on the background just because it's very meditative and really pretty, and you know, I
Yeah.
had it on my home media server, and
Right.
now there's like tens of thousands of those videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I mean, if I don't feel like actually watching anything but want something on in the background, that's what I put on.
That's great.
And I also am sort of obsessed with the New York City transit system. I have been since I visited there many moons ago.
Hmm.
And because it's old and I mean, it's very old and it still moves, millions of people daily. And I don't know, I just think it's amazing. And that was part of my excitement to go to New York a couple months ago was just go ride the trains.
Yeah.
Like literally, I mean, I was like really
Well,
excited to
not
do that.
only as like just as like an infrastructure and logistical wonder,
Yeah.
and engineering wonder, it's
Hmm.
also a social smorgasbord.
Totally.
You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like it's
Yes. I was talking with a buddy, our mutual friend Aaron, who goes to New York pretty frequently for work, or at least through
yeah,
New York. And we were joking. I said I was just glad I was in there in the winter because it was, it was kind of refrigerated, so the urine smell wasn't quite as pungent.
that's true. Yeah, the hotter it gets,
The worse it gets.
it's the mix of the trash sitting out on the curb and
And
urine.
and in the tracks and
Yeah, and then the hot dog carts sprinkled in, the hot
yeah,
dog
yeah.
carts smell
Uh-huh.
sprinkled in. I mean, you can't get that anywhere else.
You cannot. It's
You know,
wonderful. It's delightful.
they should
I don't
bottle
know.
that shit and sell it.
It's like
I,
Kramer trying to sell the beach, and the executives like, that's a
yeah,
terrible idea. That's you want people to smell like dead fish?
right. No hate for New York though.
No,
I
no,
mean,
love it.
that's part of the amazing. It's just this. It is what it is. You just there it is.
That's one of those, and I have, as I'm standing on the platform waiting for the train, it's one of those things where I told, like I think the key to getting around or to staying alive in any large metropolitan area is to mind your own business
Hmm.
and act like you don't give a fuck, and you'll fit right in.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so, but being, an interloper from Lincoln, Nebraska, who's kind of obsessed with the whole thing, I have to watch what's going on,
Yeah. Yeah.
and but I remember having just that moment of gratitude, like I'm really glad it's not 104 degrees in here right now.
Oh, for sure. But yeah, but also like, did you temper your phone use to try to not?
Yes.
Okay, I feel like that would be hard because it's like I want to capture this because it's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like I did that the last time I was in Chicago. I remember the first time I was in Chicago, I was like it was the first time I ever rode the
Yeah.
CTA
The
or anything
CTA.
like that,
Mhm.
and that was fuck, I was 20 years old, right? And high as a kite most of the time, and so the trains were just like fucking amazing. And
Right. Have you guys seen this? And I was
yeah,
like,
and
yeah,
then like
dude,
every
I
time I'm like,
literally ride this to work
yeah,
every day.
this is my day in, day out,
Yeah.
dude. And so you kind of have to like, like when you're walking through Manhattan, you're not just staring up at the tops of
Yes.
the buildings the whole time.
Yes.
Like you kind of
That's
have to,
that's a good way to identify yourself as a mark.
right. Yeah, act
Hmm.
like you've been there before.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, and you're totally a mark, right? Like you're
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
one thing when we were in London though, riding the tube, like riding the trains there, is a
Riding the
totally
tube
different.
with things that sound dirty but aren't.
I mean, I'm sure there's a video out there somewhere.
Right.
But the trains in London, man, they're clean.
Hmm.
the platforms are clean.
Mm-hmm. Well,
The alert to mind the gap to get
uh-huh.
on. It's very regal. And when you're on, it doesn't matter what time of day,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter where you're at. You're on the train and everybody is very polite and quiet.
Yes. And it's
It is
delightful.
it is amazing.
Yeah.
But when you're there with a bunch of American college
Oh
students,
boy.
American college theater
That
students,
could get embarrassing real quick.
we were, I mean, but also like to our credit, those liminal times for us, like riding the bus, being in a cab, riding a train, that's where we just chit chat.
Sure.
But
Yeah, yeah.
but for Londoners, it is
They're like, "Oh my God, you ugly Americans."
it is down to we were loud, obnoxious. We were just chit chatting,
Right.
or laughing, or you
Yeah, no,
know,
you don't laugh though. That's not.
no,
No
it's like
snorting, no
no,
guffawing.
it's very
That's not very
beha-
prim.
no, you behave yourself. Now, maybe there's parts of London that are not like that, but everywhere we rode, it was like, most of the people were just like to themselves, earbuds in,
Mm-hmm.
politely sitting, maybe closing their eyes, taking a little
Mm-hmm.
nap,
Right.
and looking, giving us the side eye the whole time.
Right. Love that side eye.
It's like, oh, Jesus. But it's so clear that you stand out.
My that's and there is an art to that, I think, for riding the mass transit where I think I talked about it when this was 2 years ago, three now maybe. We went to Chicago with me and the girls and their mom,
Mm-hmm.
and we were riding the train someplace, and it was a moment where it was a very like, oh, this isn't Disney World, this is real inner
Yeah.
big city urban, where a gentleman plopped down, or we just kind of got on the train, and my youngest plopped down next to this guy
Yeah.
who we should have immediately moved.
Right.
But I wasn't quite aware of that when we got on the train. I was just glad to be like in.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
But he probably a junkie, and hadn't, he had issues.
Sure.
And then he kind of started to lean over to my youngest to like interact with her. It's like,
Yep.
okay, we're going now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that freaked her out and kind of put a cloud on her day. I mean, nothing
Yeah.
terrible happened, but
Sure.
like she's never seen anything like that.
Also just like the newness of being from, I mean, even Lincoln, Nebraska is
Suburban
not
Lincoln, Nebraska.
right.
As
Lincoln,
clean as it gets.
yes. And then the
The
na-
land of manicured lawns.
and the naivete of somebody that's never been. I mean, it's
Yes.
that's the beauty of cities like that, is that everybody gets to just be there, but at the same time, not
It's
everybody has the best intentions or is well enough to like, you don't
right.
just like, somebody by her age who lived in Chicago would have learned
That.
have your wits about you,
Yes.
maybe
Yes.
would
And
have
I think
ridden the
that
bus.
was the invasion of space by a force that may not have exactly been bad intended,
Right,
but was not okay.
right, right.
Like, I
Yep,
don't think the guy had any actual bad intention.
right,
It was just he wasn't okay.
right.
And and so that led into a discussion about the fact that in situation, and then we came out of the subway. Oh, we were going to the one of the art museums, but outside of this gigantic marble columned art, one of the world's great art museums, we're all just homeless people.
Yeah,
the,
yeah,
the mass of unhoused people looking for change.
yeah.
And that was all like too much.
Mm,
And so we had to have a discussion about the fact that in situations like that, there are many, many, many people, humans, that desperately need help,
yeah.
that are never going to get it.
I mean, I'm
They're
yeah,
never
but
going to get it, and they just have to get by however they get by.
I'm really glad that you framed it like that to her, though, because I think there's versions of that story to young people where those people are bad. They're all bad. They're
Yep.
all they all have bad
Yep.
intentions. Don't give them anything. Don't look them in the eye. Ignore them.
Yep.
And that's the story they get from their parents out of safety. And then that story carries on in their adult life
Yeah.
where,
And then they vote accordingly.
yeah, that they all, that's a problem that needs to be erased and deported rather than something that needs to be cared about, or
Right.
that they're not like, you're not complicit in that. Now, it's not like you're going to sit down and say that to a 14-year-old kid, like, hey, you know,
Well, you can just
you're part of the system, kid. You
right.
did
Yeah.
this. Like, you know,
Yeah. 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 But I mean, I feel it was important to frame that in the sense that they're human beings and that they're
yeah,
suffering
yes,
and that they desperately need help. And some of them don't, even if you offered it, they wouldn't take it,
yeah, right,
But I mean that's another conversation.
sure.
But just
But
that they're just trying to get by,
yeah,
Like people that aren't desperate and starving don't uh have to. I don't know how to say this. I'm now thinking of the immediately. It's the liberal problem. I'm like, well, let's look at both sides of the issue. Um,
yeah,
but I mean there are obviously scammers in the world. I'll just say
yeah,
that,
right,
But I
right.
don't think most of the people that we saw that day were intentionally just trying to scam the system or whatever. They're
No,
just trying to
no,
eat
yes, yes,
or get
and
drunk. You know.
so they don't have to think about the fact that they can't eat,
Right. Exactly.
which I
Right.
totally get.
Yeah. Same. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's also, well, they're just drunks. It's like, well, as a just drunk myself, to that I say, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, right, yeah. I had somebody on Venice Beach come up to me and say, "Hey, you got a few dollars to spare? I need to buy a bottle of vodka." I immediately ran into my pocket. I was like, "Here's $5, man." Like,
Right. Do you?
I totally get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and 10 points for honesty.
Yes.
So anyway,
Anyway,
back to my goat. So back to my train thing. Part of the reason why I like it's because it's meditative.
yeah.
Just the passing of it puts me into a, I don't know if it's ADD or what, but it just kind of it clicks my brain.
It's probably a little of that. It's also that the principle of what you, like you said, that podcast, nothing much happens. There's a part of your brain that needs to do something.
Yep.
And so you let that part of your brain do a thing, and
Hmm.
then your other part can relax.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that serves like a purpose. So anyway, that's what sometimes I fall asleep to is I'll either put on one of those YouTube channels or on Spotify. There's a couple like whatever albums of just New York City subway recordings.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. It's great. I love it actually. I fall asleep to. In fact, I was looking at my whatever your 2024 rewind or whatever, and half
Yeah.
of it was the New York City subway
Your Spotify Wrapped is just like top
subway
five
sound.
trains.
Yeah, basically. But it's
We should.
also
I
Hmm?
want to take a train. I've never taken a train anywhere. I thought it'd be
Oh,
fun to take a train to Denver, just for
yeah,
kicks.
Denver, Chicago.
Yeah.
The only problem with that is that you have to be at the train station at either midnight or 3 in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's what
that
I've been
really
told.
kind of from Lincoln, it's kind of a drag because then most of your train ride is spent,
In the dark.
yeah, and exhausted.
Yeah. Hmm.
Right. So to really get the full train experience, you have to take it to one of the coasts.
Yeah, I can do what is the Surf Rider? What is that from
I don't
like
know.
LA or San Diego all the way up to San Francisco? You can take a train that pretty much runs along
Oh,
the coast.
sure.
Yeah.
I actually thought about trying to do that when last time I was in Seattle, is just take the train up north.
Yeah.
That's or south.
South?
Anyway, I don't know. Um, that's part of the reason why I took the Long Island Railroad when I was in New York,
Hmm.
just to get on. It's not, it's a commuter train. Anyway, whatever. The other thing that's interesting about the train videos is that it's a really, I mean, the area around train tracks usually isn't the nicest,
Sure.
but once you get in the country, it's like, okay, so the difference between a cab ride through leaving Saigon out in the countryside is very different than the one leaving Bern, Switzerland out in the countryside.
Right. Right. Right.
Very different, like in like Saigon and India. And I mean, there's just people living 6 inches from the train track, and
Yeah.
there are no crossbars. There's none of this Western like nanny state. We have to make sure that nobody, gets their
Yeah.
anything chopped off or they
Right.
sue us. It's
Right.
like there's literally people right there.
Yeah. Just standing right on the edge of the
Yeah, or
tracks,
walking
watching.
along, or
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
crossbars there. If there is a crossbar, it's this little, rusted out thing that might
Hmm.
work.
Right. Right.
It's just interesting.
That's wild.
Mhm.
Yeah. Hmm. That's cool. I think that, yeah, yeah, let your freak flag fly.
Yeah, it's one of my,
I mean, that's not that freaky,
it
honestly.
in the grand scheme of freaky, not that freaky.
It's not that freaky. It's
It's
kind
not
of,
that freaky.
yeah.
No. Mm-mm.
I like to watch unnarrated videos of people playing like RPG video games too. Like
Oh,
Zelda.
you
People,
watch the gamers?
I watch the gamers sometimes, but it's got to be specific. It can't be some like 23-year-old trying to also funnel all of her viewers to her weird OnlyFans site. Like I can't do that. I can't do like
What
somebody else like
what a time to be alive.
God. And then there's always the person that's like, fuck just like I don't want to
Yeah.
hear you narrate. I mean, sometimes I will watch that, but and I haven't watched one of these in a while, but there was like, just watching people play through like Zelda or
Yeah.
Skyrim or some sort of just open world RPG where they just play through it and they don't talk about it, they're just playing it.
Yeah.
It's kind of I like watching that.
Okay, yeah, I can get behind that. I can see that.
You know what I mean? Just it's
Yeah.
just it harkens back to like the fucking 90s when I didn't have a video game system other than a Game Boy, and I would go over to my friend's house and just watch them play games I didn't fucking understand, and they wouldn't let me play because they were like, I'm in the middle of a thing, like I'm not
Yeah. We're
like
not
Mario, like you can't just play this, like I'm saving this. You can watch, so I would just sit
right.
there with a bag of Doritos and a Pepsi and watch, and I really enjoyed that.
All I wanted was a Pepsi. Just one Pepsi, and she wouldn't give it to me.
What's that from?
Oh, suicidal tendencies institutionalized or
Oh
yeah,
wow,
institutionalized.
suicidal
I'm not
tendencies.
crazy. You're the one that's crazy.
I
You're the one
that
that,
suicidal tendencies. Now that's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
right. Anyway,
They had another band. The guy from Suicidal Tendencies also had another band, and I forget what it was. God damn it. My
I
phone's
don't.
over there.
It's fine. It's probably good that it's over there.
Yeah, it is. Uh we went and watched a film this
We
week.
did. What did we see? Oh, we saw Fire Walk with Me.
Come on, man.
Hey, look. It's like, what did we talk about? I don't know.
I don't know.
We did.
What
It
day
took
is
me a
it?
second. Fire Walk with Me, Twin Peaks. Yeah,
What'd you think of that?
it was pretty Lynchian,
Yeah.
and I felt like the first 20 minutes of it could have just not happened because
Yeah.
it didn't relate to anything and
Yeah.
was just kind of pointless.
Mm.
It like that whole first segment, like the part with David Bowie, and like it
Yeah.
didn't tie into anything. It wasn't not even in a Lynchian kind of way. It was just this
It was
tacked on thing.
it was context that could have been cut down to about a minute about
Yes,
what Agent Cooper was doing before getting the case.
yes,
But the whole thing was way drawn out, way slow, way over dramatic. Happened to have
yeah,
a weird cameo by David Bowie that didn't need to be there.
yeah.
Yeah.
100% was there just because it was David Bowie.
But okay, so I had never seen Fire Walk with Me. I thought I hadn't seen it. I had finished the second season of Twin Peaks a couple years ago. I think I watched it during COVID and as COVID was kind of opening up more. And so I had a recent contact, and I thought that the Fire Walk with Me movie, the Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me movie, was post the second season of the
Oh,
series. I really thought I didn't know it was a prequel,
prequel.
which was kind of great because I immediately started watching The Return, technically the
Oh,
third season,
do you
right?
have a brief opinion on that?
All I can say, and you'll appreciate this, is that you know that Kirsten does not appreciate and love Ween, right? She doesn't. She doesn't. It's not for her, right? It's Ween's not for everybody. It's not for Kirsten, right?
Okay, all
So I
right.
started watching, and she's just on her phone. I'm like, I'm gonna watch this show. I want to, pick up the Twin Peaks thing. She's like, fine, great. I'm just gonna be over here on my phone. Maven's asleep, or just, whatever. And she
Right.
just like, what the fuck is going on? And then, I'm like,
That's an
well,
appropriate response.
yeah. And then she's in the other room, like getting ready for bed, and there's screaming, and people are talking backwards, and she's like, this is like the Ween of TV shows.
Oh, that's amazing. I think your description there is people screaming and talking backwards.
Yeah.
That's like every David Lynch thing ever.
Yeah, so the Black Lodge people like uh, I would love to find footage of him coaching the actors to sound out words backwards so that then he can reverse.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that.
Uh-huh.
But so the reason like now I wish there was more lore, and maybe by the end of this particular season that came out in 2017, 2018, 2019, whatever. Um it For me, the beginning of Fire Walk with Me, it starts to kind of explain a little thing that the FBI work that Agent Cooper and all the other agents were working on was way more supernatural than they let on in the show, because at the beginning of the return, there's like this whole they're trying to like suck beings into the real world from these liminal spaces like the Black Lodge or the White Lodge. And so it kind of justifies the weird shit that Cooper was doing with David Bowie, kind of. That's why I was like, oh, and I don't know if they explain that more, but anyway, I fucking love it. It is so fucking weird. And it 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 is not as shocking to me now, having watched the film, and how R-rated he could be on a film and how R-rated he can be on Showtime versus what he couldn't do on
ABC or
national
whatever.
television. Yeah.
Yeah.
He got away with a lot. I'm surprised that show lasted another season
Right.
on like regular syndicated television, or regular, because it's fucking weird. But
Right.
the dark shit
It ain't Family Ties.
no, there's like, and also like I always felt like Northern Exposure was like the youth group church version of Twin
Of Twin
Peaks.
Peaks, 100%.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So it's like
Yes,
this
I do.
cute, it was
Yeah.
weird, some
It was
weird
a little
character,
weird, a little kitschy, little
yeah, some weird
uh-huh.
cast of character. We don't really know what's going on, and
Yeah.
he's in a weird part of the world.
Yeah.
Like, this is a great idea. We shouldn't have given it to a filmmaking auteur. We should have just tried to make money off of this, which is why
Right.
it lasted 7 seasons and Twin Peaks didn't.
Right.
But the return is way out there,
Okay.
like right out the
I don't know
gate.
if I have the I don't know if I have the will to there's enough of that going on.
Yeah,
I like to watch cars driving around a track
that's
and
yes. You need there's enough unpredictability in the world. You need something you can count on, like a
yes.
train or in a fucking
Yeah,
Formula One
because
race.
Jack Daniels isn't an option.
It is not. And I know I can count
You
on
can count on Jack.
Jack and Jim. You can
Get
count on these two
get you
guys
to
to
where you
help.
need to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, it is a total trip, and it is a lot. And I think that what I loved about the movie, The Fire Walk with Me, was that I think what I understand, or how I experience that, is that you kind of just you have to stop searching for all the meaning of it. You just kind of have to let it wash over you, and whatever you're experiencing with it is kind of the point, like if you get too constricted on what does this all mean,
Then you're done.
you're fucked. It's
You're
like
fucked. Yeah.
you're trying to pinpoint
Well, it's just abstract art.
yeah, I mean, there's a through line, right? But I
Hmm.
think that what you take away from it is kind of what he was after, and that's kind of different for every person.
Right.
For me, it's like it's essentially like the Stepford Wives. It's like there's a surface level of everything, but underneath everything is a darker thing, and underneath that is something even darker, and underneath that is something even darker. And Agent Cooper gets sucked all the way down to the bottom, and you get to see every layer of hell. you know? So like underneath these
Wha-
regular
But
people's
I don't want to see that.
right. Not everybody wants to go there, which is
Right.
totally
I'm
fair.
totally fine just on the surface. Keep it
But the
light.
but the return, like the last season, it starts you off in the seventh ring of hell. It
Oh,
starts you off. I mean, the talking, flashing nerve puppet and you know, people talking backwards and, you know, blood raining down and just complete and utter
so
may
is it like like the reins are off? This is what it could have been.
correct.
Mm.
I think he had a, and he also had many more years of filmmaking in between then. Like he had made Mulholland Drive and Lost Highway and all these other fucking weird ass movies in between. So he had, you know,
Yeah. I
yeah.
watched Mulholland Drive, I don't know, I guess shortly after he died.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay. I mean, it's an experience.
Mm-hmm.
Silencio.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. And I watched Blue Velvet just like three
That's
weeks ago, and that's a whole other thing.
that's a whole other deal.
It's a little more visceral, a little more punch you in the face.
I don't know. You mentioned you'd not seen Eraserhead.
I have not seen Eraserhead.
That's like I don't know. That's a whole other. I don't know if you'd. I don't know. You may love it. That's the thing
No,
is like you may
I'd have to be
absolutely
in the
love
right
that.
headspace, I think.
I think you're absolutely right. If you want to get, if you want to kind of go off,
Like, let's get weird. Let's
if
go.
you're
Let's go.
if you're ever feeling like let's get weird, I want to watch something really weird and kind of get my mind blown out a little bit. Yeah, find Eraserhead and watch it.
We'll see.
We'll see.
I
I'll
might just end
follow
up
up with
watching Family Ties reruns. I don't know.
sprinkle in some Three's Company.
Yeah. Maybe I'll go
You
Back
know,
to the Future. I mean, that's about as weird as
oh,
Well,
Back
Back
to
to
the
the
Future
Future.
is as weird as you get.
Kidding.
That's so, but that's so interesting because I know you like you've tasted the underbelly of the universe
Yes.
in right. So there's a decision on your part to kind of consume things that are a little more fun and lighthearted and
Well, and
predictable.
that I think there's you said like it's like I don't like that show Sons of Anarchy that everybody had a hard on about. Like I
Yeah,
don't I watched like two episodes of that. I'm like I don't want to see this again.
yeah. I gave up on that show after like the first
Yeah.
season, I
I mean
think
Katie
too. Seagal.
Seagal, yeah, she was amazing. She's
Yeah.
amazing. But, like
And
I
what's
just
his
I don't
name? The dad figure. What's that guy's name?
oh, I don't know.
He was great. But yeah, you just that dark running guns, doing coke.
I
That's
don't
sort of
and like I don't this is I'm gonna go watch Family Ties or
yeah.
maybe I'll
Well, it's
watch
like the
the Paste Pants episode of Friends or something. I don't know.
Friends.
Get yourself some Paste Pants.
Well, there's like you know, maybe for the general public, there's vicariousness,
Hmm.
right?
That's what it is. It's like, ooh, we can go experience that without. It's like
Yeah,
Disneyland.
right. Well, it's that there's a Tool song called Vicarious, and one of the lines, I need to watch things die from a good safe distance.
Yeah, it's that. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Hmm.
Vicariously, I
Hmm.
watch as the world dies. Yeah. Like it's
So
that.
speaking of safe distance, we saw each other downtown yesterday.
No, it's a hard pivot, Steve. I wasn't ready for that. Yeah. I was
Good.
thinking of Tool lyrics. Yeah, we did. We
We
participated in the
little protest.
I don't know, it was
It
pretty
wasn't.
big.
Well, that's what I mean. I'm not compared to some of the major metros I saw, but yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean, for Lincoln, Nebraska, there was the Journal Star reported hundreds of people. I think there was more.
oh,
It's
they
shit.
that's shit. There
It's
was like
shit.
probably 1,500 to 2,000 people
That
there.
was that was my estimate. Yeah, when all was said and done. Hmm.
There was a small gathering of people outside the steps of the
Yeah. Go
Capitol
fuck
today.
yourself.
Yeah, fuck off.
Yeah.
That's one thing I was saying. I was talking to Colin. I'm like, where the fuck is the news? And he saw Channel 8 there, I guess. But
Yeah, I saw a news person, and I'll, in my head, of course, they're gonna want to interview me, and my statement to them would have been, you enabled this.
Mm,
Go fuck yourself.
they may not have aired that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Or what they would have done is taken a soundbite and tried to make me look like a crazy person, which admittedly is not a far stretch, but you know,
That would be the Steve Erbauer and the little line underneath local crazy person.
pretty much, yeah.
No,
See,
I thought it was a
and then would just been used to demonstrate that all the people out there they're just fringe wackos.
yeah. I mean that is the vicariousness of that too, is that if the general public sitting at home sees that, it's a step removed. I mean, I've participated in some protests in the last few years. I think that was as big, if not a tad bigger, than some of the ones that I saw and participated in 2020, although they were a little different and had a little more point to those in 2020. This was very planned, safe, and organized, right? The median age of that was Colin and I were kind of commenting out. My mom wanted to participate, her partner wanted to participate. They're both retired. He's a Vietnam vet. Like he's darn near legally blind, so but he wanted to go down there. They both wanted to go down there. And I was looking around and I was like, this is a wide range of age and type here,
Well,
which is
I
cool.
had a friend comment like, "Where are all the young people?"
I think there were a lot of young people.
I didn't see a ton of like Gen Z.
Yeah,
I mean, there weren't any 18-year-olds there. I mean, not very many.
that's true.
The
They were
median age was like 40.
That's true.
So
That's
that
true.
was sort of like, oh, that's a little kind of a bummer. But
Hmm. Yeah, I
yeah,
wonder.
my friend, well, why do you think that is? I said, well, my guess is apathy.
I mean, or it feels like a field day versus something that's gonna do something. Maybe I don't know.
Maybe. But
I mean,
I have kind of a complicated relationship with those things. My first actual protest was in 1991 across Pennsylvania Avenue from the White House
mm-hmm,
when we first started bombing Iraq the first time.
mm-hmm.
And there were a lot of people down there. And my takeaway, and granted, I mean, I was 19 years old, I was an idiot. But I felt like that I was also surrounded by idiots.
Mm.
And like I just was not I wasn't impressed, I
Mm.
guess. I
Mm-hmm.
thought this is just going to be used as fodder for the PR machine because there was so much material for the news networks to pick up on
Yeah.
of people just to show like these people are idiots, they're, not patriotic, they're, I felt like it was very I like this is just grist for the mill.
Yeah.
And then I almost got crushed by a police horse pushing the crowd back. So that
Oof.
wasn't a great moment. In fact, that was absolutely terrifying. And that's the closest I've ever actually come to actual death.
Yeah. Wow.
I was between a police horse and like 4,000 people as the horse was pushing people back.
Oof.
Yeah. So that was a little terrifying. And so I very much, I kind of tend to stand on the outside of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Mm-hmm.
because it only takes one person
I know.
to
Well,
light off something that could be really bad.
I
Uh,
I experienced something that was really telling of my emotional well-being during that. I can do the crowd thing for a little while, and I think just like just stimulus wise, I get a little overstimmed,
sure.
which is
I
fair,
think that's
right?
why I also kind of hang to the outside.
Yeah, and I also think about I also got a little touch of the catastrophic thinking, so I think of every possible thing that could go wrong, or
Mm-hmm.
asshole in a big truck that could mow over my
Yeah,
brother and
yeah,
wife and
100%.
mom.
And that happens.
Right. So I my anxiety's through the roof for that. But so what happened was we were on the other side of the Capitol with some friends and and then a truck drove by, or a car full of people
Mm-hmm.
who were flipping everybody off.
Yeah,
Right. And I
yeah.
said, fuck, I just
I
it
saw
just
that. I was standing there.
erupted. I'm
That
like,
happened to everybody.
fuck
That's the
you.
thing.
Like, just
Yeah.
like, I was like,
You were
whoa.
pissed.
And I was right on the curb.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if that tells you anything where I'm at and
hmm
how my gas can is wide open at that point.
Yeah. With
And
a
then
rag sticking out of it.
right. I am a Molotov cocktail waiting to be thrown.
hmm
And then a friend in the friend group who I don't spend a lot of time with, and you know, she just kind of came up out of nowhere and was goofing with me. And she was like, fuck you, like laugh, like kind of like
Uh-huh.
trying to have a Winnie Banner. And I felt every bit of my adrenaline open up at that point.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, that's my
Whoa.
friend Jen. That's
Yep.
Jenny. Like,
Yep.
unclench your fists, take a
Right.
deep breath.
Take a
And
breath.
Kirsten was like, whoa. And I'm like, and I had to just say it. I said, Jen,
Mhm.
I'm sorry. I was really triggered by that. I was triggered by that. And then you said that, and I love you. And like we hugged and we're fine.
I
But
was a witness to that, everybody. It happened. And it was fine. But I could tell Jenny, who I don't know at all, other than I've seen her, around,
sure.
is she was kind of like, I mean, I think she was a little triggered by your trigger.
Yes.
Yeah. Like she
Yeah.
was a little like fight or flight.
Yes.
hmm
It was very real. And I'm glad I had the wherewithal and I had safe people around me. And her and I were able to kind of
Yeah. But
diffuse
like
the situation.
I felt like everybody, okay, this is a big comedy of errors minus the humor. Like it's
Yes.
fine.
Yes. Yes. And
hmm
so that is, but that, I mean, I recall, so that, for the most part, I think it's overall about the protests all around the country. I do think it's very good. I think there's a lot of good to be had for people showing up and making their bodies present, saying,
Yes.
I am of the people that is disgusted with what's happening.
Yes. And
And
there's
and
there's
my
there's power to that.
I think there is. I also think
hmm
that there is a leadership problem that needs to like, okay, folks in positions of power locally and across the country, you need to listen to this and help this because these people, A, I know this all you care about, will vote for you, and B, you need to see that this is not going
Real.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah, but uh it did feel like okay, even like the planning. I think it's important to plan the time and the space to do it. And then I'm like, I want to go eat a slice of pizza. Whereas with the Black Lives Matter protests in 2020, I was like, you know, I markered my emergency contact on my arm, right?
hmm
I was ready to be. I mean, I knew that the protests were going to violate the curfew. I
hmm
knew that the cops were going to be there. I knew that we were going
hmm
to take to the streets, and I was prepared and ready for a little more
hmm Action.
consequences,
Yeah.
action.
hmm
Yeah.
Well, that because I was live streaming that thing for about an hour, and about halfway through, I saw LPD roll up with the lights on, and I thought, oh boy, here we go.
Oh, yeah.
And then they just, I don't know what the issue was or what, but then they just turned the lights off and drove away, and there
I
was
think they were
no.
pushing people off the curb. I think that
Okay.
people
Well,
started to
there
encroach into
was
the
one
street.
moment where I saw people start to carry a banner or something in the middle of the fucking street.
Yeah.
And if they would have not pulled back, I was going to start a chant that said, "Get out of the fucking street. Get out of the fucking street." You
Yeah.
idiots.
Yeah.
And I hate the megaphone people.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot.
That's all I see is news cameras focusing in on them.
Yeah. Hmm.
That's all, because I mean, yeah, they may be affecting what, maybe 1,000 people. 10,
Yeah.
11 news, whatever affects a lot more.
Yeah. That
And
they're the
they absolutely can spin that. So it's like be very, very careful about the message that you're putting out there.
they're the self-appointed voice of that day. And
Yes.
that will make but again, and I reference this again, the local group, the students of color, like both high school and college students in 2020, 2021 that were organizing protests. Those were the people I wanted to have the megaphones because they were
Yes.
so fucking good at what they were
Good.
doing.
I
They
remember
were
that. They were
so
fantastic.
organized.
Yep.
They they balance speeches with calls to action with, okay, we're gonna, like there was one where they're like, we're gonna occupy different parts of the city. We're gonna walk down 27th Street. We're gonna walk down O Street. We're gonna shut down traffic. But here's the rules. Everybody needs to watch out. Like, and we have people with coolers on wheels with water, and and these kids are fucking 17 to 21 years old.
Yeah.
And we were all like, you're in charge, because we felt like just simple crowd control shit. They fucking handled it.
Yeah.
It was the best thing I'd ever been a part of. And, they were really, really good at it. And I think, that was one of those, like, we're going to break some rules, but we're going to do it not like assholes, like,
yeah,
we're going to break the rules.
Good trouble.
Very good trouble. Right. And they were very clear about anybody that decides to throw bricks at windows. That's on you. That's not us. Right.
Yeah.
Like we don't condone that. That's not going to get the point across.
Yeah. That's
counterproductive. Counterproductive. We're going to slow down traffic. We're going to get heard, and we're going to stand. And like, there was one night where they decided to march from the steps of the Capitol all the way through campus and back to the Capitol. And they said, we're going to do it silently. And so for that whole loop, nobody said a fucking word. And it was like, that was super intense too.
That's intense. Yeah. I like the idea of honk for support.
Yeah.
Because it reduces the impotent male rage people to flipping off, rolling coal, speeding through,
Yeah.
And I saw a little bit of that, not a ton.
Sure. Right.
There was more honking than there was flipping off.
Yeah.
Which was somewhat gratifying. But there was definitely also a few people, you just see the big truck coming and think, well, this is going to be predictable. And sure enough,
yep.
Loud, it's just impotent belligerence.
Yeah.
Because that's all they've got.
Yeah.
That's all they've got.
Yep.
And guns. Yeah. So I also had an eye open for that too.
Yeah. I mean, it's like we live in a state where it's like, well, that wouldn't happen here. I'm like, it absolutely could. And that's where I have to temper this is going to happen versus this could happen. I'm going to live in the dangers of what could happen and be prepared, but also be present. And I think that the crossroads of people flipping off from a car, my friend jokingly saying fuck you, or me being triggered by that and saying fuck you to the car, and then the friends kind of joking around saying fuck you to me, and the fact that we're on the lip of the curb with cars driving by, it was a recipe for an issue that I'm glad didn't happen.
Yeah, same. But I mean, that's all it takes.
That's all it takes.
That's how shit happens. Again, back to point A, which is that's why I kind of stand on the outside.
Right. And I think that may be something I need to do just to protect myself. I mean, I think Kirsten likes to be in the shit, and I think there's a time and a place to be in the shit. But I think for me, I just don't know that that's wise. I that morning I sat in meditation. That morning I read my fucking books. I fucking did yoga, and I actually like lifted some weights. I like got that out of my system. I don't think if I had done that, I don't know that would have gone the same.
Well, I came right from a secret meeting, so I was, vibrating with spirituality.
You actually levitated.
I did.
You levitated there. Yeah. You floated.
I mean, I had the help of a concrete thing that I climbed up on top of, but but that was also by design. Like that's the way I'm wired. I want to see the whole picture.
Yeah, I think that's cool.
I want to see the whole picture. Like I was live streaming, I was just kind of panning my phone back and forth like a security camera would do or whatever, or a street cam.
Yeah.
But while I was doing that, I had one eye on the viewfinder and another eye on the crowd.
Yeah.
Like there was a guy walking along. I'm like, he something of an anomaly with his hand in a pocket in a way that I was like, and I just kind of made sure that he just kept walking,
Yeah.
Like, not that I know what I would have done besides maybe put my phone on him,
Right. Yeah. Well, I don't think that the administration gives two shits that this is going on.
Nope.
They don't
it's
care.
like the Occupy Wall Street people, the video with the marchers in New York and the Wall Streeters on the balcony above them drinking champagne and laughing at them.
Yeah, exactly.
Like literally laughing at them. Like they think this matters.
Yeah. I don't think, but it should matter to us. It should matter to the opposition leaders, and also I like that the weather's getting warmer. We may have more opportunities to demonstrate.
Yay!
So, yeah.
All right. Well, I know you got a heart out in a minute.
Got a heart out.
You got a heart out.
Yeah, I've got a doggy play date today.
I hate your freedoms.
And we're going to Le Quartier to get some pastries to take to the doggy play date. That's where my fucking life is right now, which is great.
Terrible.
It's so great. I'm not complaining.
We're gonna go to Le Quartier and pick up some pastries for the dog party.
Yes, we have to. Yeah, we have a play date with some people we met at the members only dog bar, and their dog is no longer sociable with people at the dog bar. So we're making a special attempt to have the dogs play together.
No comment.
Yep. Busy bee.
Busy bee. That's a bear with a bee costume on. Anyway. Okay. All right. Well,
that's my life.
I love it. I love you.
I love you too.
Right.
Have a good summer. Have a good summer.
Bye.
Don't forget, toot your hooter.